Let's talk about the whole Terrence Crawford thing real quick. It's gonna be pretty hard for Terrence Crawford to to command a 50-50 or be the A side against Errol at this point. Let's go. You like for him to do that, he need to go fight like Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, everybody that Errol has fought and beat. And to be honest with you, the only person really, if you really be like straight up about it, the only person that really even have the right to even put themselves in Errol space far as what they've done at 147 over the last few years is Keith Thurman. Matter of fact, Keith Thurman was in Errol Spence's seat. And I want to see Keith get back in the mix. Crawford is going to need an opponent. Spence is going to need an opponent. And it looks like right now Sean Porter is the guy that's being pushed for both guys, but he can only fight one. So that's going to leave Manny Pacquiao for somebody if he chooses to do so. Now, with that being said, we're talking about Manny Pacquiao. So ain't no telling what Manny might do. We might actually get a Pacquiao Spence. We might get a Pacquiao versus versus Crawford. I doubt if we'll see Pacquiao versus Porter. And we know he's not going to rematch Keith Thurman. But the point is, Pacquiao will probably eliminate one of the two between Bud and Errol because he wants a big payday, which I tend to think that favors Errol. If he's looking for big money, I think that would actually favor Errol. Now, if ESPN could up the ante and pay him more, who knows? But I think we'll have a better chance of seeing an Errol versus Pacquiao. Now, with that being said, though, Keith got to get himself in the mix. He got to. Because at the end of the day, Sean Porter was never, in my opinion, ever, the best welterweight. Danny Garcia never, ever was the best welterweight. The only people that can argue that for themselves outside of Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao over the last 5 or 6 years would be Keith Thurman and now Errol Spence. So really, the real showdown is what it's always been. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. And if Terrence Crawford want to enter the mix and step over on this side when he leave Bob Arum, then so be it. That's the fight that Terrence Crawford would need to be his great equalizer anyway if he won a 50-50 or claim to be the A side if he fights Errol Spence. And the same with Keith Thurman. If Keith Thurman was to try to get in the ring with Errol and claim to be the A side based off of his accolades and what he accomplished at 147, he still would need the Bud Crawford fight because at this point, Errol has caught him. He's caught him. Matter of fact, he passed you because he's still undefeated and you lost to Pacquiao. So for Keith, they try to one-up him or to bring balance to the equation when it's time to sit at the table. Him and Terrence Crawford are both in the same boat. They would need to fight each other. And the winner of that then could argue that maybe, that they're the A side. The only other way you could leverage anything out against Errol would be to beat Manny Pacquiao himself. And Keith, you're not going to get that option. And Bud, you might not get it either, to be honest with you, because your numbers be looking modest, and it might not be enough to get Manny Pacquiao in the ring. So we'll have to see. Now, if Keith was to manage to perhaps get that WBA regular title, or even super if Manny, and that's another thing we got to put on the table. Manny Pacquiao might actually drop that title and fight Conor McGregor if that money big enough for it. Just putting that out there. But the point is, it's options, especially when you throw Keith in the mix, especially when you throw Virgil Ortiz and guys like that in the mix. Terrence Crawford but he got to get in the ring with one of these guys, somebody. But if he want to level things out, leverage it out with Errol, he need that Keith Thurman fight. The same for Keith Thurman. Errol said he's going to fight everybody. Everybody will get their turn. Then that need to be Keith Thurman too. And at the end of the day, Keith Thurman, he said this is how it was going to play. him and Errol was going to be the last two standing. He thought he was going to clean the division out, which he actually kind of did. Only person he did not beat, really, well, Kell Brook, Errol Spence, Bud Crawford. He could still fight Bud. That's a fight that need to happen. But if you can't make the Errol Spence fight, if you can't make the Pacquiao fight, and if you can somehow get around that mandatory for Sean Porter, fight Keith Thurman. And if not, then fight Sean Porter. And that's pretty much all I got. This Head Busting Boxes on Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you think. Like, number one, was that Errol Spence's best performance? Number two, who do you want to see Errol fight next? Terrence, Pacquiao, maybe even a Keith Thurman. And if Errol does wind up fighting Pacquiao, who should Bud Crawford fight? I say Keith Thurman is the obvious answer if you're trying to level things out for Bud against Errol. And that's pretty much all I got. This Head Busting Boxes on Fight Doctor. I am out.